off with Rich Scangarello.
Scangarello, I think is how you say this one. Yeah, there you go. It's your Broncos. Come on, you got to get your Broncos,
The
right?
Skang man.
The Skang.
He's the Broncos' new offensive coordinator. He's going to be the jetpack that's going to be making Joe Flacco fly this year. So talk to us about Rich Skang and tell us why this is important.
I think one thing you kind of noted there too is as you read those offenses, you're like, none of these three are that sexy or intriguing. Like the Cowboys, maybe they got some intriguing talent, but Broncos and Ravens, and that's kind of why I purposely picked them, is no one wants to talk about them. It looks like they're talentless, but when you actually look at how this coordinator might use these guys, I think we got some interesting things. And we start with Rich Scangarello, formerly of the 49ers. He was their QB's coach last year, and if you watched any 49ers ball, you know Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard played surprisingly well once Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt there last year, and they often praised, and Kyle Shanahan often praised, Rich Scangarello, who clearly just kind of parlayed this into his now biggest play calling gig of his career. He's got a really interesting story. I won't go into all the details, but make sure you check out rotostreetjournal.com if you're kind of into these type of stories. Most of his career, he's been the D2 offensive coordinator in college, kind of no names, but he realized his system was almost mirroring what he saw Kyle Shanahan doing when he was with the Texans. He's like, oh my God, this NFL coach is doing exactly what I like to run. Started showing his players Kyle Shanahan style film from the Texans. These concepts are what we do as well. This is how he coaches them. And ultimately was like, this guy's a genius. I need to go work under Kyle Shanahan if I actually truly want to become the bright mind and reach my ceiling as a coach. So he took like an internship gig. He was getting paid pretty decent money at the college gig. Took an internship gig, was like sleeping on couches and stuff, to work as a quality control coach under Kyle Shanahan. And Shanahan was like, who the hell is this guy? I thought he was like a lineman coach, but he's asking me about plays I ran like 7 years ago. What the hell is this guy doing? And then realized like he's something special, kind of started grooming him. So he comes from the Shanahan tree, no doubt. We know he's going to use a Shanahan-style system because he's been using it for years. So what exactly does that mean? Heavy emphasis on the zone blocking running game, establishing the run first, so then you can kind of create and marry the passing game to that with play action, with screens off designed runs. That's really what the Shanahan scheme is about. And of course, just going for chunk plays. He said, Shanahan, what he taught me most is if you can score on the play, you go for the throat every single time. And when we've seen these offenses at their best, it's amazing to watch a well-executed Shanahan tree-style system. So that's why I'm excited for what this guy could bring to the table. And if he was able to get, you mentioned Joe Flacco, and it's like, does anyone really want a piece of a Joe Flacco offense? I mean, again, the 49ers were right in that top 10, top 3 in rushing, top 10 overall scoring with these shitty backup quarterbacks because of this system. So I think Flacco, even though he's not nearly as elite as people might think,
terrible,
he's pretty horrible, could end up being a decent enough option to at least make other interesting fantasy pieces here. So that's kind of an overview of the scheme and what he's going to do. With all these, we're going to kind of give you a quick picture of what the scheme is. That Shanahan, again, heavy run, marrying the pass and run games to confuse the defenses. And what does that mean for their fantasy products? So coming from there, the first and most important guy is Phillip Lindsay, that breakout player of last year, the undrafted free agent rookie. One of my favorite players, 1,278 total yards, 10 TDs. He's getting completely disrespected throughout fantasy, falling to round 4 and even round 5 in early drafts right now. And with Scangarello, this zone blocking scheme here, I'm already calling his breakout was no fluke. He's going to ultimately be one of the best values of 2019 drafts if this doesn't start correcting itself. One, because that zone blocking scheme is so beautiful. It hails all the way back to Gary Kubiak. And if you've been listening to this podcast, you've heard us rave about Kubiak and what it means for Dalvin Cook. 15 running backs over 1,200 yards, 13 out of over 1,480, 10 over 1,600, 7 over 1,800 in 22 years. So over, 70% have been over 1,200 yards. Crazy numbers like that. It's just a money scheme, especially for a guy like Lindsay, who thrives when you read his scouting report. The strengths goes from patient to urgent as a runner, contorts through crevices and finds the second level, runs with timing and instincts. All stuff you saw on tape last year as you watched him play. Those are like the most crucial attributes to thriving in a zone running scheme. And last year he averaged 6.2 yards per carry on the outside zone, 5.04 in the inside zone, as compared to 3.81 for Royce Freeman on those zone runs. So a lot of people are like, Royce Freeman's going to come in, he's going to be better, and he's going to take some more work. Last year, Lindsay was the one that was obviously dominating as is, especially dominant on those zone runs, which Royce Freeman hasn't been great at. So I truly expect that Lindsay's going to dominate. And the last thing for him, too, is Flacco loves throwing to his running backs. He's targeted running backs over the last 3 seasons. 24% of his throws have gone to the running backs. That's the 4th highest rate behind Breeze, Brady, and Trubisky. So we know Lindsay, one of the most able pass catchers in the league and so explosive in space. This game, again, is very based on screen heavies when you come from the Shanahan tree. Lindsay is incredible in the screen game because he just rip it so far up the field. So he is the one that is most impacted, in my opinion, from Rich Scangarello being there. But I do have a few more if we have time to go into at least one more player I think could be a real big fantasy break.
Hey, one more player.
And that would be Noah Fant. I think he's going to be an immediate top 8 fantasy tight end, even as a rookie. And this is one of the hardest positions to ever translate to in the NFL. Right. Very rarely do we see rookie tight ends actually do anything meaningful. But I'm calling it now that this guy's going to be a beast. The reason being is George Kittle was in this same Kyle Shanahan scheme under Rich Scangarello last year. Breaks out for 88 receptions, 1,305 TDs. Sets the record for yardage from a tight end. And now he is going to be from Iowa. He mentors Fant all offseason, says we're working together. I'm giving him the ins and outs of this offense. So you got this guy, Noah Fant, who is an absolute physical specimen. Monster, 6'4", runs a 4.5 40, even faster than Kittle. And this offense is all about just churning open field for you to run down the seams and go deep and yak opportunities. For a seam stretcher, it's absolutely perfect. John Elway said, I think the success that Kittle had in San Fran while Scangarello was there, speed tight ends can be very effective in this offense, and they made sure to trade up, go get their guy, Noah Fant, to do that. And Joe Flacco has already openly admitted, I love targeting tight ends. They've ranked in the highest in the league. Led the league in targets just a few seasons ago. He's the 5th highest rate, Joe Flacco, in targeting his tight end with 23% of the looks going to him. He said, I love Fant. I love the way he runs. We're already clicking in OTAs. So this to me is that kind of, there's no real other clear target competition, whether it's Sanders, you got the torn Achilles, and it's like, is he going to fully ever bounce back? I'm not a believer in Cortland Sutton. I think Noah Fant could kind of step in here, and just like Kittle was that dominant magnet for the 49ers offense, I think he could be a rookie and still be one of those monster target hog tight ends. And he's getting pretty much undrafted at this point. So that's a guy last round. Just take him, stash him on the bench, and see what happens. He's going against history. Again, the tight ends have not been good as rookies, but this guy really could be a monster from the start because I think this scheme is going to be perfect for him.